really out of the price point, I have no choice but to try it myself. And today we hit it on the nail. What's up, you guys, and welcome back to Growing with the Lilies, where we are creating your dream gardens one plant at a time. So today is a bit of an impromptu video. I'm going to be taking you guys along with doing the actual puncturing of the holes of the drip irrigation. So in the previous video here, I was able to record the whole process. So today we are going to be coming out and actually puncturing the holes and putting the drip emitters onto each plant that I currently have out in the front yard landscape. So it's nothing pretty, it's nothing too fun, but it is still pretty exciting because that means I'm one step closer to getting some automated water out here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what we currently have as far as the line and where it's running, and then we're just simply going to go through each plant, puncture the hole, put this in, and hopefully this will show any new gardeners out there that, want to try something on their own, but you might be feeling a little hesitant. You might be feeling like you don't know what you're doing. This video is really to show you that you can do whatever you put your mind to with a little YouTube research, a little chat GPT, and just a little courage. You can get it done. So let's go ahead and see if we can get all of the drip emitters on each plant that we have out here. So this is the current line that we have running from the valve here, and it's feeding all the way around. So I will start by puncturing this emitter right onto this crepe myrtle here, and it's going to come out. This is concrete, or pavement. It's hard. We won't be planting anything here, but we will have some plants along here. And so the line runs all the way down, and we did get some very pretty iceberg roses in. And as you can see, we've created this little, I guess, like ditch thing. So when we water the plants, the water has something to sit in, and it can just soak it up. And once that ditch is basically dry, that pretty much tells us that it's time to come out and water it some more. And so once I'm able to get the emitters on here, I will no longer have to worry about that. So we have this bougainvillea. I don't know if this is purple or more of like a magenta color. What do you guys think? Is this purple or magenta? And some more iceberg roses. And actually, the line is here. So we're just gonna drag it all the way out until we get to the very end. And these are some transplants that we had in the backyard landscape. These are some agaves, and you can see they're pretty grown. This is a rosemary bush that we took out, and my hope was to be able to replant it, but unfortunately I think that we might just have to toss it because it's too overgrown. And rosemary typically grows on new wood, so basically it would be growing from the green parts that you see. So essentially it's going to just keep growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I did have this vision of having little, maybe like 5-gallon rosemary bushes with some other annuals in between mixed in, but I think for what I want to do and the look that I'm going for, I don't think that this big rosemary bush is going to be worth planting. We really couldn't even keep the shape that it had. I am sad because I did come out and I have used this rosemary in the garden. So we'll see. For now, this is where it's at, and we'll see what we're going to do. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get these emitters onto the actual tubing. Let's go. Well, let me give you guys a little close-up this time so you can see just actually how easy it is to do this. All right, so you're gonna put the hose under your plant, and you don't want it like, ow, something stick me. You don't want it like right up on the the root of the plant, you kind of want it maybe like an inch, 2 inches off. So it's falling right into that hole and not directly onto the base of the plant. You're going to take these. The hose is going to go in here. And in here, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little puncture. And you're going to put it in. And you're just going to press down. And I'm trying to make sure that I'm giving enough slack for the rest of the plants that are going to be here. We'll go there, and then we'll go there. What I'm debating, what I keep looking at before I'm puncturing is because I don't have all my plants out yet, I'm trying to guesstimate where each plant is going to go so that I can make sure I have the hose on it. So I'm trying to figure out if I need to do this more of like at an S zigzag type or just straight across. And I'm thinking, regardless, I'm going to have to probably run some extension emitters to get to the plants at the back. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Because if I go straight, these plants won't have anything. All right, let's do a quick ChatGPT and see what ChatGPT tells. All right, so we're gonna do it a little bit more on the straighter side, but I can curve it a little bit, just a little bit. Where is my button? Oh, here it is. There we go. That's on there. Let it sit and fill, and we're gonna go ahead and move on to the bougainvillea.
People are like a flowing stream, everyone choose a different dream to follow. Waters are either wild or coming, and many a soul runs steep and some are shallow.
When you have the emitter kind of like on the outside and the water is still getting to the plant, you are basically, if you're prone to weeds, you're going to get a lot of weeds because the water's shooting out. So you do want to make sure that you are in this little ditch that you have created for your plant to sit in as it's starting to get established. And those little stakes will definitely be helpful when it comes to that. The goal, I think, in my opinion, is to have as least extensions as possible. What I have found is that when I've done irrigation drip emitters, maybe I didn't do it correctly. At one point, I just had too many holes, and it calls for the water to not come out properly. So certain plants were not getting the right amount of water, basically. So one thing to note is that when you're doing this, I think one of my goals is to make sure that I have just the right amount of holes. You don't want to do unnecessary holes. I think it honestly, it messes with the water flow. And I think in some cases it can even basically cause for the water to not come out of certain emitters. So I am being very, very cautious with where I'm actually putting the emitters and making sure that I'm putting them into the right spot and in the spot that I really want them to be in. because the more holes, the more water it's fishing out. And that especially can become problematic if you don't necessarily have plants where the holes are at, and then you're having to close them. And I just think the more simple, the better. So the less holes, the better. All right, and what I'm going to do is actually going to, because I know that we're going to have a bougainvillea probably on this post too, or is that the middle? I think we're going to have a bougainvillea on this post, and then one, so three more. So one here, and one there. So I'm going to go ahead, just position this to where it needs to be, right there. And then we'll let this follow along, so I kind of have an idea of where everything needs to go. All right, you guys, that was it for today's video. Very short and sweet. This was really just to serve as a reminder that you can do anything that you put your mind to. Installing this drip irrigation was a bit intimidating for me, even though I've done it before. Remember, gardening is all about finding solutions, and sometimes the best solution is yourself. But really what it came down to was my willingness to want to get it done. I did not want to have to pay the amount that we were getting quoted for, and I knew I could do it myself once I had the right tools. And you can too. Half the battle is making sure you have the right tools in place, and then simply getting out there and trying it. If you liked today's video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button to follow along for more of our 1 acre property transformation. All right, you guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.